Today we're going to be pulling the engine out of this kx125. So I finally did decide that I want to part this out. I don't want to try and get it running myself. The cylinder needs re-nicked. That's going to cost me $400. And I need to get all the top end rebuild stuff. That's going to cost me another $250. So I'm going to be $650 in on this bike. And I just decided I'm not going to take the risk. I got the bike for free. Why not just part it out? The parts are in good demand. I can maybe make good money off these parts. So I'm going to pull the engine out of here, and we're going to get to work on this thing. So you guys stay tuned. I'm going to go get my tools. Alright, in case you guys have never done this before, pulling an engine is so easy. If you haven't done it before, it's super easy to do. It's not hard at all. So, if you have a drill, it's even easier. Alright, that one's cracked loose. And these are 14mm bolts. That one's not in the mood to come off. Alright, well I guess I'm going to have to get a breaker bar. Alright, well, I got them both out. Took both my hands. I should be getting a tripod soon, so we'll maybe sometime be able to have a content film with a tripod. But right here we can see that that one is not wanting to come out. I got it out with the drill. I got it to loosen up. I'm just gonna screw on the nut on the end and bang it out a little bit. Well, I remembered a little trick that I do so I don't have to actually screw back on the nut and hammer it out. Something that works a lot better is you get your drill and you put it onto the head of the bolt, and then you stick this wrench in with your other hand. You pull it with this wrench while you're going backwards with your drill, and it works great. It's always worked for me. So now for the next thing we got to do is we're taking out the big one, the swing arm bolt. So yeah, I'm gonna disconnect the chain. No, actually I don't need to disconnect the chain. Just take off the swing arm and then it'll come right off. So I'll take out that one, I'll figure out what size it is, and I'll be right back with you. So that is a 22mm socket. Got it right out of my socket set right there. I'm going to get an extension for the drill, or I'll just use my breaker bar. I decided I'm probably going to need my breaker bar to get this one loose. Let's just see what it takes. Oh, never mind. I guess I totally could have done this with the drill, because that was loose. That's kind of sketchy to ride with right there. Oh, what the heck. That was kind of loose. Usually the swing arm bolts are a lot tighter than that from the few bikes that I've taken my engine out of. So maybe we'll just use the drill on the other side, and I'll do that same trick, you know, use a wrench to pull on the bolt, and it should come right out. Alright, so it turns out that there's not like a bolt head on the end of this, so I had to use my crescent wrench, fit it to that, then eventually was able to pound this swing arm bolt out. Definitely one of the hardest ones to get out in a little while. So now with the swing arm disconnected and everything, I'm going to take off the airbox and the carburetor, and we're going to be good to go. And I'm going to be able to list this motor on eBay and get the parting out, because this thing has got, the whole bike was complete. It just, you know, like I said, the cylinder needed re-nicked and too expensive. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to invest any more money into this. I haven't invested anything into it. I don't really care if it's running or not. If I can get the same amount of it in parts as I could actually selling it, I'm willing to do the work. All the air boots are off the carburetor now. I loosened those up. Now we've just got one more step that I almost forgot. We got to remove this main radiator hose right here. It's just right there that it hooks up. Alright, that was disconnected. And also another thing you got to do is drain your coolant. I drained the coolant earlier. Look at the coolant that came out of this radiator hose just a little bit. It's so black. Look at where it dripped. That is disgusting. Oh man, I wonder how bad the engine looks on the inside. Should be fine. Alright. Well, this thing's about ready to get out. I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting anything. The last motor that I pulled was that 85 motor, so yeah, that one was the last one that I pulled, so I'm trying to remember because it's been a while since I've done a full-size bike. Yeah, I did it on a kx450, a bunch of my friends' shop. This one, this would be my, I can't remember how many I've taken motors out of, but I've done a few of them. Yeah, so this one's about ready to go. I'll update you right when I got it out. Alright, we just need to disconnect this chain, then we're going to be ready to go. This will be my first time doing this one-handed. Let's see if I can. Either it's going to work or it's not going to work. I'm just going to put my phone down. Yep. Dang, I need a tripod. Okay, the master link is off. It's sitting in my box right there. Now we can pull this rusty ass chain out. There we go. Now this motor's freed up. I can probably get it out. So upon pulling that carburetor, I did drain it out before I took it out, but still some of this gross, horrible smelling 10-year-old gas dripped out of that carburetor. I can't tell you how bad this gas smells. I've never smelled gas this bad. Like, I've smelled gas that sat for like a few years, but this stuff, after 10 years, it just keeps smelling worse and worse. That is not good stuff. Here's the carb anyway, so yeah. I could probably sell this carburetor for 25 bucks. Maybe a little more, maybe like 50. I'm not sure, it's in good shape though. I noticed one more thing, it's the clutch cable. So I disconnected the clutch cable. Clutch felt good, it pulled. So yeah, I mean, this is gonna be one of those eBay specials, you know? Nothing wrong with it. It's hard to find engines like this, so I hopefully can get 800 out of this. Alright, the engine's about to come out. I'm just going to set it into my engine chair. This is what I've used for the most part. Put it into there. Then I can pick it up and set it onto a workbench. But yeah, it's out now. So another good tip is if you have your top end off, always wait until you got your engine out before you disconnect that. Because you can see up here it's dirty. I don't want any of that to fall down into the engine. So always wait to disconnect that until, you know, I pulled the chair back. I had the engine away, I pulled it down, had my rag down here, because the last thing you want is to have particles in your bottom end, and then your whole motor's screwed up. Yeah, this is going to be good. I'm going to either go take it to the shop and have them hot soak it, you know, put it through one of those big industrial washers. That costs 20 bucks to do, but it really does do a good job. Otherwise, I'll just use my own paint thinner and just wire brush this thing down. Make it look really clean. I don't know, what do you guys think I should do with this engine? Should I sell it as a whole thing on eBay or is it more worth it to just take apart the whole thing and sell every little piece on eBay? I think selling the whole thing would be easier, but I kind of want to know how to maximize the cash without adding too much extra work. Here's the bike without the motor. That was pretty easy. I did that in under 20 minutes. And that's all it should take you to take out a motor. They're pretty easy. And this one was a lot dirtier. I wish that it wasn't the middle of winter, because otherwise I could have used my pressure washer. But all I was able to do before it was hose it down really good and use one of those hand sprayers. And I scrubbed it down the best I could, but it still wasn't enough. This thing is pretty dirty. So yeah, this frame, I'm probably going to try and sell it for $150. And yeah, the swing arm I could sell for probably 75 bucks. Silencer, I'll let that go for 40 bucks. Rims, probably $50 a piece. The brakes for the whole rear assembly, probably 100 bucks. Whole front assembly, probably another 100 bucks. Suspension, I don't know how much I'm gonna sell that for. I gotta do my research on that. This is like, I've only parted out a bike a couple times. I'm not very experienced with parting out stuff. I usually just fix it and keep it and then sell it. This will be my first time parting out a bike.